Guys, I'm getting old. My knees are hurting, I've got acid reflux, and if I did make this video right now, it'd be significantly harder to do in the future. Shout out to Karsten Runquist, the homie, for the idea. He did a favorite movies from every year he's been alive video a couple months ago. Thought it would be fun to try that out with albums. Go check out his video right after this one. I'm just gonna cut to the chase because this video might be a little bit of a long one. Not gonna give you a rating for any of these albums because obviously they're fantastic. I wouldn't bring them up otherwise. But without further ado, this is my favorite album from every year that I have been alive. Which brings us to our first album, Ágætis by R.E.M. by Sigur Rós. Believe the hype, this is one of the prettiest albums of all time. It feels so alien and otherworldly, which is in part due to it being Icelandic, so English speakers are not going to understand the lyrics on this one. But this does really and truly feel larger than life. It is quite fitting that this is my favorite album from the year that I was born, in that it truly feels like birth, life, and death incarnate. And in that, it does feel so human as well. I'm not going to try to pronounce any of the songs on this album. I will butcher it, but it is just true masterclass post-rock shoegaze with some of the most beautiful tracks that I've ever had the pleasure of listening to. I think that it is a true testament to how wonderful this record is that it hit the mainstream success that it did over here in the States. Just some truly ethereal, atmospheric, tear-jerking stuff. This is absolutely one of my favorite records of all time, and I can't recommend it enough. Runner-up goes to American Football by American Football. For the year 2000, I've got Lift Your Skinny Fists Like Antennas to Heaven by Godspeed You, Black Emperor. An album that I struggle to put into words, truly. This is an album that I have sat with for quite some time, and every time I return to it, I find something new and beautiful about it. I struggle to really define this as music because it's really more experiential than anything. What its contents mean to me will differ drastically from you. It is a project that is fueled by emotion and feeling more so than anything, and it shows in its instrumentation. Every note and every moment is just so unbelievably powerful. One second you're feeling euphoric and the next you're feeling devastated. And their ability to execute such a cinematic experience through nothing but instrumentation is truly awe-inspiring. It leaves you with nothing but your imagination to put together your own story to make sense of the music laid out before you, which I believe is a truly beautiful thing. One that is so dense and layered that it truly demands a fully attentive listen. It's one of the most beautiful and devastating and grandiose records that I've ever listened to, and I cannot recommend it enough. Our runner-up for 2000 is Stankonia by Outkast. My favorite album from 2001 is This It by The Strokes. I often tell people that this is a truly perfect indie rock record. It's really all killer, no filler. Julian Casablancas does not waste any breath here. He is killing it on every track. Really put themselves on the map. There are a lot of artists that came after this album that tried to do the exact same thing. Really stuck its way into the cultural zeitgeist of the time. Everyone and their mother knows Someday, and Hard to Explain. The energy bouncing off the walls when you spin this record is undeniable. There are a couple of tracks in the back end that I'm not like in love with, but even those serve a purpose in the grand scheme of the album. It's my go-to for the turntable. If I don't know what to play, I'm throwing The Strokes on. Such a good album that they've actually just struggled to recapture that energy since 2001. My runner-up for 2001 is Silent Hill 2 by Akira Yamaoka. My favorite album of 2002 is You Forgot It in People by Broken Social Scene. One of my favorite records of all time. I've sat with it for quite some time now. Some of the tracks on here are all-time greats, in my opinion. Evokes such a strong sense of nostalgia for me, and it's just consistently fantastic from front to back. It all flows masterfully well, and the transitions from one song to another are pretty flawless. Absolutely adore the bursts of sporadic and almost like unhinged horns on this record, and the strange vocal inflections and effects are used sparingly but really effectively. Anthems for a 17-year-old Girl is one of my favorite tracks of all time, point blank period. A true supergroup. It's a record that could not happen today with the amount of voices and hands that have touched this record. Blends so many genres, still feels incredibly underground. It's one that I can't really tap into as to why it is so amazing. It's one that you just need to experience for yourself. Please listen to this one. And my runner-up for 2002 is Yankee Hotel Foxtrot by Wilco.
Traveling vaudeville villain. You don't give a flying fuck who ain't not feeling them. Watch what you're dealing them. Ace King Death Card. Strong arm the wrong man. Pardon the left guard.
My favorite album from 2003 is Vaudeville Villain by Viktor Vaughn, aka MF Doom. The production on this record is so punchy, so unique, so weird, and goes so unbelievably hard. It is a true masterclass, not only in instrumentation, but also in songwriting and lyricism and flow from Doom himself. Vaudeville Villain really leans into Doom's comic-y side, very exaggerated, very loony and silly, but still hits incredibly hard as well, delivering some of Doom's greatest tracks of all time with Vaudeville Villain and Saliva, to name a few. Everything about this record just oozes personality, which is what I come to Doom for at the end of the day. A truly amazing record that is pretty all killer, no filler. And my runner-up for 2003 is Give Up by the Postal Service.
So nasty that it's probably somewhat of a travesty having me. Then he told the people you can call me your majesty. Keep your battery charged. You know it won't stick, yo. And it's not his fault you kick slow.
My favorite record from 2004 is Madvillainy by Madvillain, aka MF Doom. What is there to be said that hasn't already been said? Everything I love about Vaudeville Villain carries over to Madvillainy. Madlib and Doom are a match made in heaven. Their artistry is truly awe-inspiring. I would even go as far as to say that Madvillainy presents some of the greatest lyricism I've ever heard on a record. If you saw my MF Doom song bracket, you know that I am pretty biased towards this record. Some of my favorite Doom cuts of all time land on here. Truly just an iconic record, one that truly stands the test of time. Despite it coming out so many years ago, it still feels fresh and new today. When people say that MF Doom is your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, spin this record and you'll see why. True, just unfiltered, raw talent through and through. Not afraid to be cheeky and silly, which I think really adds to this record's personality and charm. If you're a fan of hip hop and for some reason you have not tapped into Madvillainy, what are you doing? Give it a spin. And my runner-up for 2004 is The College Dropout by Kanye West. My favorite record from 2005 is Illinois by Sufjan Stevens. I always joke around and say that I'm contractually obligated to love this record because I am from Chicago. Obviously kidding, but in all seriousness, this project is truly awe-inspiring from front to back and delivers some of the grandest instrumentation I've ever heard on a record. The tracks are ambitious, lengthy, beautiful, passionate, and vividly charismatic. I find myself getting lost in the luscious strings, perfect harmonies, and sweet melodies, as well as Stevens' flawless songwriting. The track Chicago remains one of my favorite songs of all time, occasionally bringing me to tears, even 10 years after hearing it for the first time. It brings me feelings of change, maturity, appreciation, and the beauty in life. I love everything about this record, even the ridiculously and almost comical lengthy song titles here. It is one of my longtime favorite projects and also one of my favorite albums of all time. A perfect 10 out of 10 in my opinion. Even today, I still cannot find a single thing that I dislike about this record. It's a truly beautiful album and one that I recommend everybody listen to. And my runner-up for 2005 is Late Registration by Kanye West. favorite record from 2006 is The Trials of Dan Occupanther by Midlake. A record that I have wanted to talk about on this channel but haven't really found a reason to yet. It is such a charming listen. It's got such a warm sound and for some reason does truly sound like its odd album cover. The opening track, Roscoe, is near flawless and sets a fantastic tone for the remainder of the project. The riffs on this thing are absolute earworms. I found myself really enjoying how mellow and soft the vocals are as well. It is a very welcoming listen. It's one that tells a cohesive story from front to back. It is a fantastic concept album. Fantastic record to go on an evening stroll to. It really enhances the mood. Potentially the greatest fall record of all time. The vibes are so immaculate. And when it comes to folk rock, no one's really doing it as well as Midlake is, especially here. And my runner-up for 2006 is The Devil and God Are Raging Inside of Me by Brand New. My favorite record of 2007 is In Rainbows by Radiohead. Definitely is their most accessible record, especially in comparison to something like Kid A, and a little less so OK Computer. In Rainbows delivers some of Radiohead's most melodically satisfying tracks in their discography, highlighted on tracks like Body Snatchers, Nude, and Reckoner. A lot of these tracks offer fantastic build-ups to beautifully crafted conclusions. I really love the ebb and the flow to this record, with each track feeling like it belongs on the lineup like jigsaw pieces. There's a reason that this record is held to such a high regard and standard. It is truly one of the greatest art rock records of all time. Something that I don't really need to tell you. If you haven't listened to this record, go out and do that. It is something that you will not regret. Up there, for sure, with some of their greatest work of all time. And my runner-up for 2007 is Sound of Silver by LCD Soundsystem. My favorite record from 2008 is also a record that I never want to return to ever again, that being Deathconsciousness by Have a Nice Life. It is not very often a record evokes such a sense of anxiety and dread within me in a vein that this record does. This record is very much an emotional experience, one that took my mind to a very dark and unfamiliar place. An oddly depressing album, one that literally says very little in terms of lyricism, but one that leads its listener to learn more from the way the music is constructed to understand its true meaning. It is not a record that I ever want to return to. It didn't bring me to tears or anything like that, but it did get me thinking about life and death in ways that I haven't really put much thought into before. It is an incredibly powerful record, and if you have ever lost a loved one to suicide, it's a very difficult listen. I have nothing else to say about this one. It's beautiful in how emotional and impactful it was to me, but it's something that you kind of have to experience on your own. The only takeaway that I have from this record ultimately is to check on your friends and loved ones and to stay strong. Despite how hard it is, life is worth living. And my runner-up for 2008 is The Midnight Organ Fight by Frightened Rabbit. My favorite record from 2009 is It's Blitz by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, which is just absolute wall-to-wall energy. Soft when it needs to be, but explosive and powerful when it wants to be. Delivers some of the most iconic indie rock tracks of all time, like Zero, Heads Will Roll, and Soft Shock. I also really enjoy the slower, more grounded tracks on this record, like the luscious and melancholy Little Shadow. The instrumentation is admirable, killer guitar riffs, immaculate percussion. Not to mention Karen O's bombastic vocal presence on every track that really makes the record the way that it is. Really just iconic, and a fantastically fun listen. And my runner-up for 2009 is Veckatimist by Grizzly Bear. My My favorite record from 2010 is This Is Happening by LCD Soundsystem, which is one of my favorite records of all time, another perfect 10 out of 10. Delivers some of the most dynamic, flexible, and airtight electronica that I have ever heard. The album starts off incredibly strong with Dance Yourself Clean, which is one of the most satisfying buildups in musical history. The synths and percussion on this project really shine consistently throughout the album, along with some fantastic guitar and bass work. Drunk Girls is another wonderfully catchy and flawless track, one that I find myself returning to time and time again. But my personal favorite on the record is All I Want, which manages to feel nostalgic and new at the same time. The synths on this track are beautiful. It's just exceptionally melodic and a treat on the ears with every new listen. And most of these tracks range anywhere from 6 to 9 minutes, but no track on this record really feels as long as it is thanks to how dynamic each track is. Some of these tracks initially seem to lack any direction or melody, but even those really start to grow on you over time. I love how sporadic this thing truly is. I love this project, and I might be biased because it's one that I grew up with, but despite its very few flaws, I do think that this album is amazing and has delivered some of my favorite electronica songs of all time. My runner-up for 2010 is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West. My favorite album from 2011 is Hurry Up We're Dreaming by M.A.A.D, which is such a euphoric record. It's so dancey, so consistent, so powerful, and ripe with energy from start to finish. Everyone knows and loves Midnight City, obviously, but it's an incredible feat to have so many more standout tracks just on one project alone. Is it a little long? Yeah, sure. And could I do without the instrumental interludes? Sure. Could a few songs be cut or shortened? Sure. But when this album works, it works. Delivers some incredibly catchy electronica with elements of 80s synth pop and indie rock, occasionally delving into shoegaze during the more psychedelic moments here. The tracks that I don't find myself enjoying as much are the slower moments on this record, only because they feel a little bit out of place in comparison to some of the more high energy stuff. Love this record, is one of my all-time favorites. It's a fantastic one to listen to on a plane, and it's one that I come back to time and time again. And my runner-up for 2011 is Minecraft Volume Alpha by C418.
Fresh out of school, cause I was a high school grad, sleeping in the living room of my mama's pad. Reality struck, I seen a white car crash. Hit the light pole too, just hopped out on foot and dashed.
My favorite album from 2012 is Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar. I go back and forth as to which one I like more. Some days it's To Pimp a Butterfly, some days it's Good Kid, Mad City. In my opinion, this is the most cohesive concept album of all time. The skits and the phone calls are perfectly interwoven into these tracks, even more effortlessly than something like in T-Pab. I also kind of find myself enjoying the sound of a lot of these tracks over T-Pab, specifically on more rap-focused tracks such as Backseat Freestyle, Mad City, and Swimming Pools. The album manages to get you really invested in the story of K-Dot and the struggles that he faces while growing up in the streets of Compton. Surrounded by violence, drugs, ego, and peer pressure. Kendrick's lyricism really shines here, with every verse he delivers being some of the best written hip-hop that I've heard in a while. It is a flawless record that holds up miraculously well. It's no surprise that Kendrick Lamar is highly regarded as one of the greatest rappers alive. When you sit down to listen to this record, it truly feels like you are sitting down to watch a movie. It is that cinematic. A perfect 10 out of 10 record, in my opinion. And my runner-up for 2012 is The Money Store by Death Grips.
She's up all night to the sun. I'm up all night to get some. She's up all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get lucky.
My favorite record from 2013 is Random Access Memories by Daft Punk. Despite this record being over 10 years old, this thing holds up and ages miraculously well. I'd be undermining their legacy if I didn't say that Daft Punk dominated that decade with their records and some of their hit singles that completely swept the competition out of the water. No one really does techno disco better than Daft Punk, which is evident on this record, which is lined front to back with amazing, revolutionary, and truly catchy music. There really isn't a dull moment on this record. Instant Crush, Lose Yourself to Dance, and Get Lucky are certified bangers that both represent nostalgia of the era that they were released in and new age sounds that remain relevant and sought after today. This is one of the greatest electronic albums released to date and remains one of my favorites of all time. And my runner-up for 2013 is Run the Jewels by Run the Jewels.
You rappers doodle, baby shit, just basic boo-boo. I'm talking Zulu, Mansa Musa, my money buku. My beats is banging, fuck what you rapping, who produced you?
My favorite record from 2014 is Run the Jewels 2 by Run the Jewels. LP and Killer Mike knock it out of the park again with their second installment of Run the Jewels. I cannot find a flaw in this record. Every track is perfectly produced by LP, who once again manages to create something unique, unprecedented, relentlessly hard, and unapologetically in your face. The duo have mastered their craft this time around, delivering lyricism that was truly ahead of its time, with many of the tracks covering themes such as police brutality, female empowerment, and political injustice. They really don't shy away from anything, despite how taboo some of the stuff they're rapping about may be. I can't help but coin Run the Jewels 2 as not only their magnum opus, but also just a perfect album. Wonderfully written, wonderfully produced, and wonderfully enjoyable. Killer features also, I want to put that out there. I feel like we don't talk about those enough. And my runner-up for 2014 is Pinata by Freddie Gibbs and Madlib.
When I get signed, homie, I'm acting fool. Hit the dance floor, strobe lights in a room. Snatch your little secretary bitch for the homies. Blue-eyed devil with a fat-ass monkey.
My favorite record from 2015 is To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. I mean, come on. Right? It's ambitious, politically charged, and not afraid to get dirty, which I truly appreciate. The record's production is truly fascinating and ahead of its time by incorporating jazz, spoken word, and gorgeously unique samples. The album is not afraid to be violent, genre-defining, dark, intense, and lyrically potent. Kendrick truly mastered his craft here, producing quality-sounding material with important and culturally relevant content. It is one of my favorite records of all time, solely based on how well it knows itself and what it is supposed to do and say. Also, one of the most important records to drop within the last couple of decades. And if by some miracle you haven't listened to this one, I don't want to spoil it, but the last track here blew my mind on a first listen. True poetry through and through. It's a perfect album. And my runner-up for 2015 is Carrie and Lowell by Sufjan Stevens.
It doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be like this. Killer Whale.
Favorite record from 2016 is Teens of Denial by Car Seat Headrest, which tells tales of emerging adulthood angst, awkwardly relatable stories from my teenage years, and oftentimes silly and hilarious songwriting. With some absolutely fantastic tracks like Fill in the Blank, which is a great opener, a headbanger, and something to scream along with, to Destroyed by Hippie Powers and Drugs with Friends, which are hilarious, relatable, and remind me of my teenage years. Vocalist and singer-songwriter Will Toledo really knows how to write and tell engaging stories that all of us can weirdly relate to. Drunk Drivers, Killer Whales is the Car Seat Headrest classic and one that I have loved for years. I love how cinematic and climactic both Cosmic Hero and the Ballad of Costa Concordia are. It's one of the greatest and truest indie rock records of all time. Sounds like it was recorded in a garage, which really adds to its atmosphere. And it's just a record about finding your place in the world and not knowing what to do to get there. Definitely one of the most hard-hitting rock records that I've ever listened to. It's one of my absolute favorites. And if you haven't given it a shot, don't let his voice turn you off. It's part of the charm. Beautiful, beautiful record. Undeniably so. And my runner-up for 2016 is Blonde by Frank Ocean.
That nigga Kevin can't rap. He too sappy with his shit. He don't rap me with his shit. He on that teenage bullshit. Ain't he about 20 and shit? When he let go of that shit, he'll probably be a little quarter. Y'all agree with me, shit?
My favorite record from 2017 is Saturation 2 by Brockhampton. So confident, so focused, sharper, and catchier in presentation than its predecessor. With a sound very reminiscent of West Coast hip-hop with an essence of that Brockhampton charm that we saw in their first project. Lightning struck 3 times, in this case with Brockhampton releasing the Saturation trilogy all in the duration of one summer. Presents itself as so unique, full of feeling, full of creativity, each member is being so unapologetically themselves and bouncing off of each other in such a flawless way. It is really like a you had to be there kind of thing. It is true lightning captured in a bottle. It was so refreshing refreshing to see a group of young guys just pouring their creativity and talent and passion into 3 projects. If we're cheating, I'd lump the Saturation trilogy as a whole here, but if I had to pick one that I like the most, it's gotta be Saturation 2. Gummy, queer, junky, sweet, all absolute banger posse cuts. A true modern day Wu-Tang Clan. And it's one of the greatest hip-hop records that I've ever listened to. And my runner-up for 2017 is Melodrama by Lorde. My favorite record from 2018 is Twin Fantasy by Car Seat Headrest, which is my favorite record of all time. Truly feels like the soundtrack to my life, especially in my later college years. I discovered the band after a rough breakup and have an incredibly vivid memory of me speeding down the highway late at night, screaming my heart out to Beach Life and Death. I'm astonished at how raw this album feels, both in its vocals and in its instrumentals. Each track sounds like it's being played live for you in a bedroom on a warm summer night. I truly feel each and every track deep inside of my heart and soul, like each track holds a purpose and is meant to tell me something that I don't know about myself yet. Because even more so from Teens of Denial, this record is about finding yourself. You have to acknowledge and respect the ambition on this project, especially the fact that Will Toledo was able to pull off a 16-minute long track without it feeling like a drag to get through. The track Bodies is one of my favorite tracks of all time. It's the first song that I ever listened to that allowed me to feel such a deep connection to music that I hadn't felt before. It is the perfect album for the lover boys out there. So incredibly vulnerable, relatable, and most importantly, human. It's a record that I'll hold near and dear to my heart for the rest of my life. And my runner-up for 2018 is Kids See Ghosts by Kids See Ghosts.
You make my earthquake. I don't want no confrontation, no. You don't want my conversation. I just need some confirmation on how you feel. For real.
My favorite record from 2019 is Igor by Tyler, the Creator, which is the most unorthodox breakup album that I have ever heard. I don't think that I gave it enough credit when I first heard it for the first time. The production on this record is insane, and in my opinion, more ambitious than Flower Boy, which I loved as well. But Igor is just so unique, fun, and emotionally potent, and very different than anything that Tyler had done in his career up to that point. While Flower Boy is more of a character study on Tyler as a person and, no pun intended, a creator, Igor is far more focused. I love how the story of a toxic relationship unfolds from track to track. Remains a tale far too relatable to me as well as many others. You gotta respect the pivot. This truly felt like a risk in Tyler's career, and I truly believe that it paid off. I do think that this is his best record to date. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's amazing. If you haven't given it a listen, go for it. I still don't like Puppet though. It sounds like Kanye recorded his verse in his car. And my runner-up for 2019 is There Existed an Addiction to Blood by Clipping. My favorite record of 2020 is Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers. Beautifully crafted album with gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous vocals from Bridgers. I can only describe the sound of the album as beautiful as well as haunting. The first listen of the album didn't really strike me too much, honestly. It didn't leave much of an impression on me, aside from Kyoto, which is an indie rock banger, and of course the outro to I Know the End, which is a truly epic musical achievement and one that I will cherish forever. But the second time I listened to this record, skating through my neighborhood the summer before I moved halfway across the country, it really struck me. I heard things that I hadn't heard before. I understood the words spoken on a deeper level, and I learned to love the record. Every track on this record serves a purpose and leaves no room for filler. Every lyric is delivered in such a sweet, heartbreaking, and lovely way, and I'm honestly loving this record even more each time I give it another listen. It's just beautiful. Man, it's good crying music. It's a personal favorite of mine. It's a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. And I love this shit. This is my shit. Like, I love this so much. And my runner-up for 2020 is Charlie XCX's How I'm Feeling Now. My favorite record from 2021 is Magdalena Bay's Mercurial World, which is some of the most fun pop I've heard in years, combining elements of dance, synth pop, disco, and vaporwave to curate a unique, distinct, and quite engaging atmosphere. The risks that this record takes almost always work in its favor, presenting new ideas almost with every new track. The record never sacrifices appeal and melody for its quirky and oddball production, managing to balance the two near perfectly. The record dips in quality a little towards the end, but it's able to pick itself up and recover by the finish line. Secrets, Your Fire, You Lose, and Cherry are like 3 of my favorite pop tracks just of all time. This thing has an undeniable energy, a fantastic groove, and it's absolutely worth your listen. It's so accessible, just give it a shot. Bought this ish on vinyl, that's how you know it's a banger. And my runner-up for 2021 is Nurture by Porter Robinson.
Good morning. Show me the place where he inserted the blade.
My favorite album from 2022 is Ants From Up There by Black Country New Road, which is such a beautiful, cinematic, awe-inspiring, powerful, and perfect album. Their debut record For the First Time had some fantastic moments, but felt significantly held back by a struggle to settle on one identity. There was potential and great ideas there, but nothing was quite fully embellished enough to pack a punch. But this record, on the other hand, fully utilizes that potential. The instrumental buildups on this record are nothing short of amazing. Everything is so chaotic, yet every note fits perfectly into place. Isaac Wood's vocals are strained, passionate, and full of personality. I found some of his vocal work on their last record to be a little off-putting, but he really brings his best game here. When I first heard Concord, I couldn't imagine that they'd be able to top it, but the last 3 tracks on here are masterclasses in song structure. I mean, fuck, I could talk about this album for hours. It's just so mesmerizing and reminds me what I love about music. Obviously heartbroken that Isaac had to leave the group, but as we saw from this year's drop, they still got the special sauce. But this is a 10 out of 10 record, one of my favorites of all time. Just beautiful art rock through and through. This is one that I absolutely recommend to anyone and everyone. And my runner-up for 2022 is Preacher's Daughter by Ethel Cain.
Something just isn't right. I got from the inside. I'm frightened of the end. I'm drowning in my self-defense. Now punish me.
My favorite record of 2023 was Javelin by Sufjan Stevens, who I've already established as one of my favorite artists of all time. I love mostly everything that this guy comes out with. Was nervous going into this project because 2023 was such an underwhelming year for music, honestly. And my hopes were just so incredibly high that this project would meet my expectations. And they did. Crisis averted, right? It's an interesting project because there's a little bit of every Sufjan project in Javelin. It truly feels like the culmination and celebration of his work, which as a longtime fan is incredibly cathartic. Goodbye Evergreen is such a fantastic opener and possibly my favorite on the album, but there's too many to choose from. From Will Anybody Ever Love Me to So You Are Tired to the extravagant shit talk, there's a little bit of something for everybody here. And the man has outdone himself yet again, and I love him with every fiber of my being. Javelin's awesome. Give it a shot. It's beautiful. You'll cry, but you should still do it. And my runner-up for 2023 is Let's Start Here by Lil Yachty.
Knock yourself out. Knock yourself
Favorite album from 2024 was Smile by Porter Robinson, which feels like it pulls the best characteristics from Worlds and Nurture with this electro-pop punk twist that's really working in its favor. Feels far more vulnerable from his past work, dropping the pitch vocals and moving forward with a rawer, more personal performance from Porter. Also delivering some of the catchiest melodies from 2024 in tracks like Knock Yourself Out, Cheerleader, and Mona Lisa, also while delivering some of the saddest and most heartfelt ballads in tracks like Russian Roulette, Easier to Love You, and Everything to Me. Can't really find a miss on the track list. and this thing kind of just keeps growing on me, honestly. I don't think that it's as intricately written as Nurture, but I almost feel as though that supports the thematic undertones of this record. I don't dislike a single track on this thing, and I'd be able to call it perfect if not for like a couple of awkward lyrics. Far more accessible and easily digestible, which is something to appreciate. I also think seeing this guy live in concert really elevated this record for me. It's become one of my favorites over time. And my runner-up for 2024 is Imaginal Disc by Magdalena. And that's it. What's my favorite from 2025? Time will tell. I'll drop a part 2 to this thing in like 15 years, as long as I'm not dead yet. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I appreciate the love and the support. If you like what you saw, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a share, subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. And that's it. My knees hurt. I've been standing for too long. My mouth is dry. Been talking too much. I'm gonna go lie down. As always, sleep tight. Don't let the bedbugs bite. And I'll see you in the next one.
Fuck.